Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Chris Johnson, running back. Christopher Duan Johnson is an American football running back who is currently a free agent. Born in Orlando, Florida, Johnson emerged as a senior for East Carolina University, where he broke out for 2,960 all-purpose yards and 24 touchdowns. He was drafted by the Tennessee Titans in the first round of the 2008 NFL Draft. After running a then record-breaking 4.24 seconds in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. In 2009, he won the NFL rushing title with 2,006 yards and broke Marshall Faulk's record of total yards from scrimmage with 2,509. This earned him the nickname CJ2K. He has been to 3 Pro Bowls, and was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year in 2009. Johnson has also played for the New York Jets and Arizona Cardinals. Early years. Johnson was born in Orlando, Florida. He played football at Olympia High School in Orlando. Considered only a 2-star recruit by Rivals.com, Johnson was not ranked among the nation's top running back prospects in 2004. He selected East Carolina over Eastern Kentucky and UConn. Track and field. Johnson was also a standout track star at Olympia High School. In his senior year, he finished second in the 100 meters at the 2004 Florida 4A State Championships behind Walter Dix. In addition, Johnson also finished his senior season posting personal bests of 10.50 and 21.28 in the 100 meters and 200 meters respectively. In his junior year, he qualified for the finals of the Florida State meet with a preliminary time of 10.83 seconds. Walter Dix won the event with a 10.46 in the finals. Johnson placed fourth with a time of 10.66. He anchored the 4x100 meters relay team that won Golden South and Golden West National Championships. His personal bests are 10.66 seconds in the 100 meters and 21.28 seconds in the 200 meters. 2004 season. Johnson enrolled in East Carolina University and was a member of the East Carolina Pirates football team. He made an immediate impact in all 11 games as he eventually started 7 games on the season. He finished the season on the Conference USA All-Freshman squad as a running back. He recorded a reception in 10 straight games, which was a team best. He finished the season with 561 yards rushing and 765 yards on kick returns for 1,562 all-purpose yards, all team highs. He finished the season by being ranked 24th nationally for all-purpose yardage and also rushed for 5 touchdowns. He finished the season with 8 school game-a-season records for a freshman and finished the year with 32 catches for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns. Second on the team. In his collegiate debut against West Virginia, Johnson returned 5 kickoffs for a total of 100 yards. Against Louisville, Johnson returned 7 kickoffs for 102 yards. In a victory over Tulane, he set season highs with 31 carries for 158 yards and 2 scores. Against South Florida, Johnson totaled 212 all-purpose yards and scored AQ's only offensive touchdown on an 18-yard reception. In the season finale against NC State, Johnson totaled a season-high 144 kickoff return yards. 2005 season. After his memorable freshman season, Johnson started all 11 games at tailback in his sophomore season. He led the team with 684 yards on 176 carries and 6 touchdowns, while also recording recording 35 receptions for 356 yards and 2 scores, and 459 kickoff return yards. He was also the team leader with 1,499 all-purpose yards, and set a school record with 67 career receptions as a running back. Against the West Virginia Mountaineers, Johnson rushed for 92 yards on 22 carries, both team highs. In the Southern Mississippi game, Johnson returned 4 kickoffs for 100 yards. In the Rice victory, Johnson totaled 129 receiving yards, including an 81-yard touchdown reception. His 100-yard receiving game, teamed up with Andre Allison's 109 yards, marked the first dual 100-yard receiving game since 1999 for the Pirates. In the Tulsa game, Johnson did not record a reception, which ended his consecutive streak at 18 games. However, in the following game against Marshall, Johnson carried the ball 18 times for 106 yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns. 2006 season. After missing spring practice due to neck surgery, Johnson returned in his junior season with 972 all-purpose yards. In the down season, Johnson totaled 314 rushing yards, 176 receiving yards, and 482 kickoff return yards. He played in 12 games on the season, but only started 5. He was selected to the All-Conference USA First Team as a return specialist after the season. He also broke the school career record for receiving yards as a running back with 768 yards, but only had one 100-yard rushing game on the year and only had 4 rushing scores. In the season opener against Navy, Johnson only recorded 54 all-purpose yards, with 1 rushing touchdown. In the UAB game, Johnson had 112 all-purpose yards. In the Memphis game, Johnson recorded his only 100-yard rushing game with 106 yards on 22 carries for 2 touchdowns. He finished the game with 180 all-purpose yards. Johnson had a foot injury that limited his action in the West Virginia game and caused him to miss the Virginia game. In the SMU game, Johnson returned a kickoff for a career-long 51 yards. Then in the Southern Miss game, Johnson recorded 136 all-purpose yards that included a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, his second career return touchdown. The return also made national recognition on ESPN's Top Plays. Against Rice, Johnson carried the ball 12 times for 83 yards. 2007 season. After an average junior season, Johnson entered his senior season as a preseason All-Conference USA First Team as a return specialist. However, he finished the season as a first-team selection as returner and second-team selection as a running back. Johnson began the season with a rushing score in the 17-7 loss to Virginia Tech. He followed that performance up with a career-high 136 yards on 5 receptions for 2 touchdowns, including a 78-yard touchdown reception and also a rushing touchdown against North Carolina. In the 48-7 loss to West Virginia, Johnson rushed for 76 yards on 14 carries, and also scored AQ's only touchdown of the game. After a slow start rushing on the season, Johnson rushed for 147 yards on 24 carries, with 2 touchdowns against Houston in the 37-35 victory. In the Central Florida victory, Johnson rushed for 89 yards with 2 scores, caught 5 receptions for 89 yards and a touchdown, and returned 4 kickoffs for 194 yards with a 96-yard touchdown return. He finished the game with a then career-high 272 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns. The next game against UTEP, Johnson rushed for 126 yards on 23 carries. Then in the 56-40 victory over Memphis, Johnson rushed for a career-high 301 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 4 kick returns for 95 yards, for a then career-high 396 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. In the following loss to Marshall, Johnson rushed for 72 yards and a score and 45 receiving yards, for a total of 117 all-purpose yards. Then in the 35-12 victory over Tulane, Johnson rushed for 155 yards on 27 carries for 2 scores and caught 4 passes for 85 yards and another score for 240 all-purpose yards and 3 scores. In Johnson's final collegiate game, the 2007 Hawaii Bowl against Boise State, Johnson rushed for 223 yards on 28 carries and a touchdown as the Pirates won 41-38. Johnson also had 3 receptions for 32 yards and a score and had 6 kick returns for 153 yards for a career high and NCAA FBS record of 408 all-purpose yards and 2 scores. 2008 NFL Draft. Prior to the NFL Scouting Combine, Johnson was projected as a 2nd to 3rd round draft pick in the 2008 NFL Draft. However, at the Combine he registered a time of 4.24 seconds and broke the all-time mark set by Rondell Menendez, a wide receiver from Eastern Kentucky. In 1999, the first year the Combine used electronic timers, Johnson was also 5th highest among running backs in the vertical jump with a 35-inch jump. His 10-foot 10-inch broad jump was 3rd best among the running backs. Tennessee Titans. Johnson was drafted by the Tennessee Titans in the 1st round of the 2008 NFL Draft. He was the highest East Carolina player selected in the NFL Draft since linebacker Robert Jones went 24th overall in the 1992 NFL Draft. On July 26, he signed a 5-year $12 million contract with $7 million guaranteed. 2008 season. Johnson had his professional debut with the Titans on September 7, 2008, where he played in the season opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which the Titans won 17-10. Johnson rushed for 93 yards on 15 carries and had 3 receptions for 34 yards and a touchdown. In only his 2nd career game, Johnson ran for 109 yards on 19 carries, including a 51-yard run and 2 receptions for 12 yards. On September 28, Johnson rushed for the first touchdown of his career against the Minnesota Vikings. Johnson finished the game with 75 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. In only his 6th NFL game, Johnson rushed for 168 yards and a touchdown on only 18 carries against the Kansas City Chiefs on October 19, 2008. Chris Johnson finished the season with 1,228 yards on 251 carries for a 4.9 YPC and 43 receptions for 260 yards and 10 total touchdowns in 15 games. He led all rookies in rushing yards per game, with 81.9 YPG. Johnson finished 2nd in AP Rookie of the Year voting to Matt Ryan, and was elected to the 2009 Pro Bowl. Johnson split carries with running back Lendale White for the duration of the 2008 season. White finished the 2008 season with 773 yards on 200 carries, for a 3.9 YPC and 15 rushing touchdowns. They nicknamed this RB tandem Smash and Dash. Smash referred to White due to his power and Dash referred to Johnson due to his unusual quickness and speed. Entering into the 2009 season, however, Johnson dismissed the nickname of Smash and Dash and named himself every coach's dream. 2009 season. Some consider Johnson's 2009 season to be one of the best ever in NFL history for a running back. He rushed for 2,006 yards to become one of only 7 players in NFL history to be in the 2,000 rushing yards club. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry and 125.4 yards per game to lead the league. He had 2,509 total yards from scrimmage, breaking Marshall Faulk's single-season record. He was named the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year in 2009. After his 2009 season, the media referred to him as CJ2K. 2010 season. To start the 2010 NFL season, the Tennessee Titans took on the Oakland Raiders at LP Field. Johnson scored on a 76-yard touchdown run in the second quarter, and again on a 4-yard run in the third. Johnson had a slow start to the game but finished with 142 yards on 27 carries with a yard per carry average of 5.3 yards. The next week the Titans took on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers ended Johnson's streak of 100-yard games and limited him to only 34 yards. He did have an 85-yard touchdown run, but it was called back on a holding penalty. The Titans then took on the New York Giants. Johnson had 124 yards on 34 carries. He would next have yet another 100-yard game against the Dallas Cowboys, gaining 131 yards on 19 carries along with 2 touchdowns, one of which ended up being the game winner with 3:28 left. After dreadful performances against the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars, Johnson bounced back to rush for 110 yards and 1 touchdown against the Colts. On January 14, 2011, Johnson was selected to the 2011 Pro Bowl, his third in 3 years. 2011 season. During the summer training camp prior to the 2011 season, Johnson initially did not show up to camp pending contract negotiations. Johnson felt he was due a considerably larger sum of money. As the leading rusher since 2008, he was set to make $1.065 million in 2011. Under existing contract terms. On September 1, Johnson became the highest-paid running back in the NFL, agreeing to a 4-year, $53.5 million contract extension, including $30 million guaranteed with the Titans, ending his holdout. In early November, a report surfaced that Johnson could be released by the Titans prior to the 5th day of the 2012 league year, which begins every March. At the time of the report, Johnson was having the worst season of his career, with just 302 rushing yards and 1 touchdown on 107 carries through the season's first 7 games. Johnson's contract calls for an $8 million salary in 2012 that became guaranteed in March. He also will receive a guaranteed salary of $9 million since the 5th day of the 2013 league year passed. If the Titans had released Johnson prior the March 2012 deadline, they would have saved $17 million, and Johnson would have become a free agent. During the 2011 season, Johnson struggled throughout the season under offensive coordinator Chris Palmer. After a frustrating season, Johnson elected to participate in the Titans' off-season training program in preparation for the 2012 season. 2012 season. After participating in the Titans' summer training camp prior to the 2012 season, Johnson initially struggled during his first 2 games of the 2012 season, gaining just 21 yards on a total of 19 rushing attempts, highlighted by an 11-carry 4-yard effort against the New England Patriots. During recent interviews, Johnson appeared to be frustrated with the new direction Titans offensive coordinator Chris Palmer is running, electing to bring a more run-and-shoot offensive scheme to the Titans, and not focusing on establishing the rushing attack. Palmer was fired later on in the season. In Week 4, he finally showed his abilities with 25 carries for 141 yards. But Tennessee still lost 38-14. He followed that up with only 24 yards on 15 carries against the Minnesota Vikings. On Thursday Night Football, he ran for 91 yards on 19 carries against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 26-23 victory. He followed that up with a great game against the Buffalo Bills, in which he ran for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns on only 18 carries. With an 83-yard touchdown, Johnson broke an NFL record with his 4th rushing touchdown of 80 yards or more. The Tennessee Titans won the game 35-34. He then ran for 99 yards on 21 carries in an overtime loss to the Indianapolis Colts 19-13. He got off to a relatively slow start against the Chicago Bears, fumbling twice. In the 4th quarter, he ran for an 80-yard touchdown, extending his record with 5 80-yard touchdowns. He finished with 16 carries for 141 yards. But the Titans still lost 51-20. In the next game, he ran for 126 yards on 23 carries and a 17-yard touchdown, ending the Miami Dolphins' streak of 22 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. He then ran for 80 yards on 21 carries against the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, the Titans lost 24-19. In the next week against the Houston Texans, he got a 26-yard run on Tennessee's opening drive, but finished with only 51 yards on 13 carries. After the game, he said he was frustrated with the lack of carries. In Week 14 against the Colts, he struggled to get anything going, only running for 44 yards on 19 carries. In Week 15 on Monday Night Football, Johnson had a franchise record 94-yard touchdown run, the longest of his career, and the second longest in Monday Night Football history. He finished with 122 yards on 21 carries. The Titans beat the New York Jets 14-10. He has season stats of 244 carries for 1,159 yards and 5 touchdowns through Week 15. 2015 season. On August 17, 2015, Johnson agreed to a 1-year $2 million contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Johnson was having a great season and was in the top 3 in rushing yards for more than half of the season, looking like his great past performance in Tennessee. On November 29, 2015, Johnson suffered a fractured tibia during the Week 12 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. He was then placed on the injured reserve with a designation to return list on December 1, 2015. Johnson finished the 2015 regular season with 196 carries for 814 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2016 season. Johnson re-signed with the Cardinals on a 1-year $3 million contract on March 17, 2016. The emergence of David Johnson as a star running back for the Cardinals severely limited Chris Johnson's use. He was placed on injured reserve on October 4, 2016 with a groin injury. Personal life. In the early morning of March 8, 2015, Johnson was shot in the shoulder during a drive-by in Orlando, Florida, in which the driver of the vehicle, Drekius O'Rico Johnson, was killed. Reggie Johnson, who also was in the car, sustained injuries to the shoulder, leg, and hand. In 2013, Johnson appeared on an episode of Ink Master as a special guest judge. Before the 2013 NFL season, Johnson participated in the National Geographic's Man v. Cheetah documentary. On the show, Johnson raced a cheetah on a 220-foot-long course, with a wall separating them. The cheetah won. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Would you like to